Hello, everybody. Welcome to another DW live show with me and my good friend Dominic. Hey, Dom, how are you?
Good afternoon, Neil. I am extraordinarily well. How are you?
Extraordinarily well. Why? What happened?
It's just a good, it's a good time at the moment. It's a good month. We've got a good amount of work, and I don't know, it just feels, it's just a nice time.
Well, following on from last week, have you just had your lunch? Is that what it is?
Yeah, no hanger here today, so we're all good.
So, so everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate you joining us every week for me and Dom to have some top banter, amongst other things.
I wasn't sure if I was going to have to do this show from a fuel queue line this morning. It was getting a bit close.
Oh, let's not even go there, right? Let's not go there. So, um, this week, guys, we've got a fantastic show lined up for you. We've got an exhibition masterclass with my good friend Emma Cartmell from the CHS Group, who looks after CHS Leeds, CHS Birmingham, lots of other things, and fair to say, Dom, an industry legend, I would say.
Absolutely, although I was just admitting to Emma that I've never actually been to CHS. The timing of when I started Stream and then the World happening last year has meant that I never actually got to one. So I'm really, really looking forward to going this year. And it's a part of the country that I've never been to an exhibition at all in, really. So yeah, it's great.
You've never been to Birmingham?
I've been to Birmingham. I've just never had reason to go to a big exhibition in Birmingham, especially not in the event industry. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm bigging it up, Neil. It's on the 26th of October. Let's get all the mentions we can in.
You Southerners think no it exists outside of what? Anyway, listen, you ganged up onto today. We've got two Northerners on, so good luck.
I know.
As usual, where are we watching? Where can people watch us from today?
As normal, everyone is currently watching on YouTube, they are watching on Facebook, and they are also watching on Neil's profile on LinkedIn. But of course, as always, you can make sure that you follow at the Delegate Wranglers on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Like, follow, share, connect, subscribe. Do all of those things to make sure that Delegate Wranglers community expands ever more, and all of the good stuff that we do in these shows gets watched by more and more people. By far the most engaged event community in the world. So please go follow.
You were doing so well until you got to Delegate Wranglers, weren't you?
Why can't I get that out? That's 2 weeks in a row I've screwed that up.
We've just discovered that Dom's got an auto cue, by the way. I know he's going to deny it.
No, no, I'm not having that. I can't even post a photo in the comments to prove that it's not turned on.
Oh, that's convenient, isn't it?
If you go on @streamit on Instagram, I will post a photo on our story right now. That's @streamit, and I will post a photo on the story right now to prove that this auto cue isn't on.
Tell you what. Anyway, sorry, Tom. I will stop ripping you now. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. As usual, this is a really timely show. We've got, we're going to be doing an exhibition masterclass. Emma's going to be giving us an exhibition masterclass with lots of amazing tips. And obviously, we've got the meeting show just around the corner, Thursday and Friday this week. And then we've got CHS Birmingham on the 26th of October. I've already done about 4 exhibitions before this as well in the last month. So this is amazing.
It's just that time, isn't it? It's just that time, and we're trying to make sure that everyone catches up on their events so that everything can start coming back to normal a little bit next year. So
yeah, especially this year. I mean, because everything's jammed into this, kind of compressed into this month. So guys, I know we're going to come to a bit later on, but I just want to make sure that you all show up at these events. There's a lot of people put a lot of effort into it, and it's this kind of thing that gets our industry moving again. Business being done, connections being made, lots of things going on. So yeah, we really need you to show up for all these events. Don't you agree, Dom?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that when we were at Confex, and there's a video that's going to come out at some point of our time at Confex with Neil and the guys on the stand. The guys that were with us had a really great show. The numbers were down, but it was as expected. I think it's likely to be the same at the meeting show this week, but it doesn't stop business being done. It doesn't remove the need to be at these shows. And the combination of meeting people, doing business, and actually just supporting the people that have had a horrendous time in the last 18 months, 2 years, and actually getting out there and showing up to the events is so important. So if you can, if you're free, if you're available, and there's an exhibition near you, whether that's meeting show this week or Emma's show in a few weeks' time, please just show up.
I mean, what else are you going to be doing? You know, waiting in a queue for a petrol at a petrol station. You may as well come along to the show.
Nothing else. I mean, it's not busy. No one's got. No, that's the problem, isn't it? People are busy, and we know people are busy. We know there's a huge amount going on in the event world again at the moment. So, it's just doing what you can. But if you are free and there's a show near you that you can get to, then show up. Really important.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So on with the show. As usual, we would like to say, please send in any questions, comments, or shout outs or anything on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and also on Facebook, and we will try and get to them as we go along, or you can save them to the end. But this is an fully interactive show, so don't be shy. So I would like to introduce my good friend Emma Cartmell. Hi, Emma. How are you doing in sunny Spain?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. First of all, tell us where you're tuning in from today.
I'm in Fuerteventura today at home. I moved out here last November, so I've been here almost a year now. But coming back on Thursday for the meeting show and home for a month back in the UK for our show at the end of the month as well.
So
you look very.
Absolutely. We were saying before the show that last time we saw you actually in this country, I think, was on the DW Social, probably October-ish last year. Have you moved out there permanently? Is that permanent residence now?
Yeah, I'm a Spanish resident now. So whether I stay here or not in Fuerteventura, because my residency covers the whole of the mainland, Balearics here. So yes, yeah. But I've had a taste of living in the sun, and it beats it, I'm afraid.
You look very healthy as well, Emma. Big smile on your face. I'm not jealous at all. So we're here to obviously talk about exhibitions. I know we're going to touch on we're going to talk about your show a bit later on as well. Do you want to tell us how we're going to structure this? I know you mentioned to us before the show, it's things to do before, things during, and things after.
Yeah, I was looking at kind of the questions that you wanted to cover, and we can talk about the benefits of being at an exhibition from a buyer and exhibitor perspective, and then breaking down all the tips really into what you need to do before the show, so pre-show, during show, and post-show. And I think people, especially when we're so busy at the moment, it's very easy just to think about the day itself and what needs to be done. But it's really important that you do that pre-work as well. So yeah. I know it's tough, but there's lots to do.
So do you want to take us from the start then, Emma? Where do you typically start? How far out do you start pushing? About let's say you're an exhibitor and you've taken a stand. What's the kind of next steps for you?
I mean, the sooner you start to plan, the better. But even if you're doing the meeting show on Thursday and you haven't done any of this, you've got a little bit of time. So it really, the more time you give yourself, great. But I wouldn't, just try and do some of the steps that I'm going to take you through. And it might be worth touching on first, just around kind of the benefits of, and because I think your prep work really is determined by what your objectives are. So when we talk about the benefits of exhibiting, for me, what exhibiting can do that pretty much no other marketing activity can do is it gives you that ability to ask questions, and it's two-way. You can engage with people. How often have we said that people buy people? And even though we've been managing on Zoom for the past 18 months, there's still nothing like meeting somebody and feeding off their energy and the buzz and such like. So I think the key things are you have that ability to ask questions, which means that you can qualify leads, which means you can prioritize your leads in terms of follow-up. You can handle objections face-to-face, and you can understand people's briefs for venues or suppliers. So you can really make sure that when you put your pitch into them, you've got a really good understanding, and no other means can do that. Email, advertising, if you're doing any videos or social, that you can't really beat that face-to-face ability to ask questions and answer them there and then. So that's kind of really key for me, and that's why exhibitions trump, in my mind, anything else that you're doing to try and attract customers.
Just on that, Emma, I totally agree with you. I mean, and Dom will back me up on this. At the at Confex, for example, you know, the atmosphere and that spirit of meeting people face to face was just incredible. And like you say, you know, it's the, I can never say this word, serendipitous meetings that you have with people. Or you might be talking to somebody about one thing and you just mention that, oh, by the way, we can do that as well. Yeah. And it goes on. And I'm sure Dom's got examples of this from the shows he's attended with us. I
actually have an example from the meeting show the last time it happened. So it must have been 2019, I think it must have been. So we were in the middle of a live stream on your stand at the meeting show, Neil. And there is a video of this guy tapping me on the shoulder. He said, "Can I have a word?" And I basically just had to say, "Look, I was interviewing. I think I might have been talking to Susie from iPop, and I was literally talking to her on the stand. He tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Can I have a word?" And I said, "Look, you're gonna have to wait a second." And he sat down on the sofa at that point and he waited probably 40 minutes, an hour for us to finish that portion of the show that we were doing. And we sat down and he said, "Look, I've got this cool event in December coming up this year. I'd love to know a little bit more about what you do." And they became our client, and they are still a client now. And we've been to Dubai with them. We've done a whole load of live stream stuff for them, and they're amazing. And that wouldn't have happened had it not been for that one moment where he happened to walk past and see how we were doing and what we were doing on that stand. And hopefully a client for life.
Funny though how the commission check to me keeps getting lost in the post.
You always say that.
Really funny, really funny. No, Emma, I do totally agree. You know, it's like I've just noticed a couple of nice comments in the group. Jan Denning, hi Jan, hope you're okay. You know, you can look properly. You can look properly into people's eyes. You know, you can properly strike up a rapport with them, which is quite difficult to do online, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just that, you know, getting into the detail of something that you might not, you know, it's like communicating on email or even on the phone or on Zoom. But if you're actually with somebody, you can often sense, that's the key thing, I think. You can't sense something even on video. So there might be an objection that they're not really uncovering, they're not really sharing, or they might just have some assumptions around your venue doesn't have outdoor space, for example, or sufficient bedrooms or what have you. So that's why I love exhibitions, is that you can really build that rapport with people, exactly what Jan said.
Yeah.
However, it's not all about the day, like I said. So the key thing is prep. And this might sound a bit like kind of homework, if you like, but it really is worth it. And the key thing for me is almost to have a mini business plan, looking at your overall objectives and what you're trying to achieve in terms of your sales targets or breaking into new areas or what have you, and set yourself 2 or 3 really clear objectives. So a lot of people will say, from an exhibitor perspective, why you're going to an event, or to win business, or just to meet people. And without having that really clear objectives, then you don't know if it's been a success or not. And a lot of people say exhibitions don't work. It's like, well, actually they do, but you have to make them work. You can't just, you know, rock up and expect things to happen, although they sometimes do, Dom, like you said. Sometimes somebody will tap you on the shoulder and become a lifelong client.
Absolutely.
But when you've got your objectives, so once you've got your objectives set, you can then think about your team that's going to actually deliver that, again, pre and post show. So it's important for your team to know what you're doing there, what the objectives are, how you're going to achieve them, when everything's going to be done, either on the day or previously or afterwards. And I think it's really important that the team know why. I think we all know that if we understand why we're doing something, we're more likely to be tuned into it. And I think we've got to be honest that our industry has, I think the number of people in it has shrunk, and the people who are left are flat out at the moment. So from an exhibitor perspective, if somebody's giving us their time to come to the show, we have to make sure that everyone's time is spent wisely. And I think it's my job to manage expectations. So like you said, it was great to read all the comments about Confex, what a great show it was. And yes, comments saying it was quieter than normal. It's going to be. And this is why you have to make sure you do the work. There's not enough, same amount of people in the industry. It's great what you're doing, Neil, and the team, in terms of the show up campaign. And I think it's my job to make sure that people are rewarded properly for that time they generously invest in us. So once you've got your objectives and you've briefed your team, you can then be thinking about, okay, what can I do pre-show? And there's some things that you can lean on the exhibitors, on the exhibition organizer to do, and there's things you can do to be really proactive. And what I'm about to say sometimes sits well with people, sometimes doesn't, but there's is a reason for doing all these things. So our show, as well as the meeting show, we have an appointment system. And if you're familiar with it, it's exactly the same system that we use as the meeting show. So if you're at our show as a hosted buyer, in fact, even as a VIP buyer, so if you're coming to the show and you are an organizer, there's a diary system, so you can do your research and book, really plan your day. I'll come on to that for exhibitors, but you can book your appointments in. But from an exhibitor perspective, 2 weeks before the show, you get the opportunity to go in. Now, I exhibit at the meeting show with our partners, as do you, Neil. And it's really interesting. The people who work that diary appointment have the best show. If you don't go in 2 weeks before and research and look through it's on one hand, I think for me, when I do it at the meeting show, maybe it takes me just half a day, maybe, and you don't have to do it in one go. You can put 3 individual hours aside, for example, to look through the list. We only really deal with the UK, so if you're looking at international at the meeting show, it does probably take longer. But you can then go to people and invite them along to your stand, give them a brief reason why they might like to come. If you've really got the time to research them and know a little bit about them, then you can make it more personal. But, one of your pre-show objectives might be, I want 6 appointments or 8 appointments or 10 appointments. And then you think, right, okay, how am I going to get those appointments? And one of the ways is to go into the appointment system and ask for them. It's really straightforward, but
you know what?
It's
what,
resources. I know it's hard, but seriously, do it on an evening whilst you're watching TV. You're just emailing people on a diary system.
You know what, Emma? I was just going to say, no, on the, like, for instance, on the meeting show one, they use Swap Card, for their appointment system.
Oh, right.
It's
not the system, it's a different system then, because
that's right.
Yeah,
you just use similar thing, but you just go on and just connect with a load of people, even if it's all the people and then a few that you'd like to know. Like you say, just spend a couple of afternoons or an evening when you're sitting in front of the telly half watching something, or whatever you want to do. I mean, just put in a few hours and just connect with as many people as you can that and then you can start connecting with, asking them for meetings with you and stuff like that as well. I think you do have to put this effort in. You can't just rock up and expect it all to happen.
But I think effort's something else. It comes back to the team as well. When you're kind of planning who you're going to take to that event, and getting them to buy into the why you're there is really important, because I have walked around so many exhibitions where literally you could walk past a whole row of stands and not one person will make that effort and step out to engage with you. And I think if I'm going to invest, all right, it's my business, but if I'm going to invest my cash and take my team to that event, I want them to step out and stop those guys walking past, even if it's got absolutely nothing to do with what we're doing at the moment. You just never know. And I get so frustrated when I see, and it happens more in the bigger companies, I think, where you walk past a really big stand and there's 5 or 6 people on it and not one person stops you to say, hi, how are you doing? How's the show been? Just having that conversation with you. So again, it's the effort and it's the team, and it's so important.
And the team needs to know, and what we find is that somebody who books a stand, it might not be them that attend.
Yeah.
So if they've not briefed the person who's attending on what's expected of them and set the objectives. I'm going back years now. Do you remember the RSVP show that used to happen in Manchester years ago? It was London years ago.
No, I don't know that one.
I'm going back about 10 years. And I remember I was exhibiting and the guys next to me, I think they were... was it a restaurant or a restaurant type venue, and they had a stack of brochures, and their objective was to give as many out as possible, and they were literally just handing them out to people walking by. And I thought, that is somebody who's been briefed so badly that their objective is to give us, because it was just, I've got to give as many leaflets out. And Dom, you laugh, but it's kind of like, if you don't tell people, oh, and have a conversation that goes like this and glean this information, and nowadays you just, we say wouldn't give brochures out. It's kind of all done differently, but it's just a prime example of how the objective has been communicated badly.
Emma, I used to work in the medical. I used to work in the medical sector, and we used to exhibit at a very large medical exhibition every year in Germany. And every other year in Germany. And one year we were given the objective, literally, make sure all the pens go. They literally gave us, they probably had 1,000 or 2,000 pens in this enormous box, and the objective was to make sure the pens went. It does nothing.
And in their mind, they're thinking, because if they have to hand a pen, they're having a conversation.
Yeah.
But it's communicated badly, because it's like, these exhibitions,
they've got the pen afterwards. They've got the pen afterwards, and they're looking at the branding. But Emma, I want to ask you, just go back to the objectives thing, because this is like a really crucial thing, and a lot of people will relate to this, I hope. Objectives from bosses to the people on the stand is a difficult thing, because almost like they're saying, to get the ROI, you've got to come back with a booking. You've got to come back with this. I mean, that's not realistic. I mean, especially not at the moment. And any thoughts on that? Because I do hear that people saying, oh, we can't afford it. We can't because we might not. It doesn't really work like that at exhibitions. It's all about putting the idea and getting the relationship with people, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, and I mean, we're in very strange times right now, because I've been hearing a lot about how lead times are ridiculously short because people aren't going to commit to anything. Then all of a sudden the event's next week and they've got to find speakers and people to stream and et cetera, and the venue just gets confirmation. And it might be, hang on guys, we've got some availability in November. I don't know anywhere that has availability in November, but it might be that, and so focus on some short-term business. Have we got anybody who's doing regular meetings, or we're not going to necessarily go for the big conferences. If you're an exhibition hall, exhibitions, we can just see what's happening in our industry. There's a challenge getting dates right now, so they might go and say, actually, with our diaries full, let's look at maybe some long-term exhibitions, but let's focus on getting all our meeting rooms filled. Completely different approach of how you do things. So it's really important. And I think it is important, like you said, to be realistic and say, well, okay, if it's bookings, what comes from, what point do we get a booking? So we've got to complete an RFQ. We've got to have met the person. We've got to have, pitched and at least got onto the tender process. How long does that tend to take for your organisation, for your venue? And then you've got, so if you historically, by the time you speak to somebody, you get business 12 months later, it might be sped up a little bit by an exhibition, but you're not going to speed that up massively. So it is about being realistic and working.
The trouble with it as well is that, the bosses can't equate that to that meeting that you had a year ago or 6 months ago. So I think, especially nowadays, this is, I mean, I keep saying this, but I was massively proud of everybody who came to like all the shows so far. So every exhibitor, every person who's turned up, every supplier, the show organisers, this is what it's going to take to turn our industry around and get it all ruling. And I know we're moving forward again, but it's this massive effort. So I think don't underestimate the power of, like Dom said, just being there, meeting somebody by chance, and then it then move into something else, because you never know. What else are you going to be doing? Sitting at home on a Zoom call, so. Yeah,
even as event organisers and producers, I know it's really busy, but I've seen a few things recently on Delegate Wranglers, people saying, I need somebody immediately. I need an event organiser for whatever reason. I'm being let down. It could be someone's actually poorly or what have you. So just being in the room and saying, oh, how busy are you? I've got availability here. Let's get together, let's pool resources. And if you're not in the room with somebody, you don't know if and you meet them and you go, oh, actually, I could work with you on that project, or I need more people, I need more freelancers. It's it's not just about the exhibitors and the buyers. Networking is networking. And you don't know what comes.
Absolutely. And I've actually made 2 appointments to see people that I need to catch up with on Thursday as well. I'm seeing a PR company who I'm hoping is going to do some work for us. And I'm also meeting a client on Thursday just as part of the show, because it just worked out better than trying to separate meetings out and doing them elsewhere this week. We just said, well, let's just go to the meeting show and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next thing about inviting people, this is the one that can be a little bit controversial. but it's so important and can generate really great results. And that is to go back through your customer base and invite them to meet you at the show. Now, a lot of people, their instinct is, why would I invite my customers to come and meet other venues that they're my customers? Why would I open up my customer base? And there's so many reasons for doing it. One of them is, if you don't invite them, one of your competitors might invite them, and they're the ones that then building that relationship up. So if you get in there first and say, I would love to see you. Two, especially for now, the industry has changed so much. Everyone's either moved jobs or left the industry. New people come back into the industry, and it's just keeping a track of where everybody is and where everyone's gone at the moment. So it's a great way of saying, just drop by and say hi. I've not seen you. It'd be great to have a cuppa with you. And one of the great things about our show is that everyone gets free tea and coffee, so you can and some of it's been served on your stand, Neil. So it's the opportunity to kind of combine to say, let's grab a quick cuppa together. It doesn't have to be a big meeting, and you can't, if you were trying to research where everyone's gone, contact them, try and get an appointment with them when they're really busy. Is quite difficult right now, but if you can get them to the show and they can multitask and do, if they hit other job objectives for them at the show, it's just a great way of meeting people and just reconnecting with them. So, and then also you can be more kind of a trusted advisor to them. So if you haven't got availability, but you help them source a venue elsewhere, then they'll come back to you and remember you, as opposed to somebody else sweeping them off their feet and therefore them finding a lifelong client. And we know event agencies, they might have their favourite go-to venues, but they do need other venues that clients do like to move their events around and what have you. So it's just a great way of connecting with people and finding out what's new for them and what they've got in the pipeline and what have you.
Totally agree. Totally agree, Emma. I was just going to ask you as well. What do we? Are you going to cover from the attendee side as well? Is that something I'm going to come to that in a second, or do you want to go there now?
I could do it because I'm just, while we're still on pre, I would we can cover off the buyers side. And I think for buyers, it's the same. It's like planning your day. Our show's a one-day show and it flies by. So if you don't get organised before you know it, especially at the moment when it's kind of everyone hasn't seen each other for quite some time, it might be nice to spend the whole day, just hugging people and walking around and catching up. But it's even more important to kind of have a few objectives. So I think it's really important to plan your day, and it might be to look at the seminar programme and decide what education sessions you want to see. So you block that out of your day. There's lunch, to be had. So you might think, right, okay, hosted buyers have got a hosted lunch, so that's sort of time to take out the diary. And then you might say, right, now look at the exhibitors. Say, I really do need to see these exhibitors, and the best way to make sure you see them is put an appointment in. Use a system, book an appointment, and then that you've got your diary planned, and then what time you've got left to say, right, that is just for walking the floor. That's for all those, I can't say either, serendipitous meetings and networking and what have you. But I just think plan your day, and again, have your objectives. What's coming up? If you're coming up in the events for the following year, it might be, okay, I know I'm going to find venues in London. So you can go straight to the London zone, because our show is geographically zoned. So you can go, right, I know I'm in the London zone. I've got X amount of London venues here. I'm going to make sure I go around them all and find out about them. It might be that you have briefs coming up where a venue has to have really good access or outdoor space or set number of bedrooms. And then you can say, right, okay, let me get a feel for which ones I know might fit that brief, and then which ones might not. I need to go and see them. So really think about what you've got coming up. And there's always that sense of, I also want to just walk around and meet people and see who's there. It might be that you have certain venues that you want to talk to, and just want to connect with the salesperson. There's been a lot of talk on social, on Delegate Wranglers as well, Neil, about who's this person now? I can't get a hold of them because we're all so strapped for time at the moment and under-resourced and what have you. So your objective might be, I need to get the up-to-date contact details of every exhibitor. In which case, you've got your work cut out, but you're walking that floor and you're keeping your conversations brief. So if you really set your own objectives as a visitor, you're more likely to come away going, yeah, I got what I wanted. Yeah, Neil.
Yeah, what I'd say, Emma, as well, what's really important, you've just triggered something in my mind then, was if you're an attendee, and you're quite right, if you plan to see a couple of seminars, have lunch with somebody, it doesn't leave a lot of time. So that means, you might only have, 10 appointments that you can slot in that time when you factor in what time you're getting there, what time you're leaving. So for all the suppliers out there who are exhibiting, it's super important that you get your wording right on the description on the app or on the booking system. So don't just copy and paste something from your marketing literature or whatever. Make it really pertinent to the show that you're at, to try and encourage people to come. I can't stress how important it is, the pictures and the thing, because this could be the difference between somebody looking at a venue in Birmingham, that one that's all right and one that's like really caught their eye, and they might think, oh, you know what, I'll go and have a look at that.
Yeah, I mean, we have to go back to some people sometimes when they put on the description kind of hotel, like, doesn't really sell you. Kind of, just, you need to
Tell
go
me
in
someone's not just said hotel. Wow.
I'm working on a business that probably didn't understand what the information was used for, but it's true. You've got to sell it. It's kind of, beautiful stunning venue in the countryside with, great catering or eco, conscious venues or what have you. So, it's
I think
really
something that comes across as someone that comes across with your personality as well. You're not just going to bore them to death. Come and have a natter, come and have a cup of tea, and we'll share a biscuit or whatever.
And you know what? Because I know I've spent a lot of time on this pre-work, but if you do the pre-work, the day comes easy. Can you imagine if you walk into an exhibition, your diary is full, and you've got some quick 5-minute catch-ups, you've got half a dozen formal appointments, you've got you're agreeing to meet somebody for lunch, you're doing this, that, and the other. It's you can really max that day out if you plan it on both sides.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And then also if you have those objectives, you'll know if it's been a good day or not for you.
Emma, could I just stop you there? We've got a couple of questions, haven't we, Dom, and comments in the chat. I don't know if you can still see them. I've got them.
It won't update. I've had a couple of comments I've seen come in, but I can't seemingly get back to it on the Facebook app at the moment. Okay,
so on Facebook, Jack Saywood. Hi, Jack. How are you? A brutal comment, but your stand doesn't provide you with the best value if you don't do the before, during, and after work. It's a great topic to enforce and educate on. So I think that's absolutely true. Jan Denning, giving a shout out to Claire Whitecross of CHS for doing a fantastic job.
I've just seen the comment from Sam come in saying, I used to rebook exhibitions freelance, so I've been to literally hundreds across every industry. Best piece of advice I can give is to not look bored on your stand. This includes working on your laptop or being on your phone. It's literally a signal for people that you want to be left alone. Drives me mad.
I'm coming. Yeah, absolutely, it does. And there's a direct link between people who look bored, sit on their computers, eat on their stands, don't engage with the results that they get. And whether they deem it a success. And there's definitely, and I'm going back years again. It was more just a B2B exhibition that I was organising, not for our industry. And there was 3 people on the stand. One of them was all sat down behind a desk, one reading a newspaper, and 2 planning their weekend. So I thought, I'm going to walk up and see. So I just walked up to the stand, right in front of them, and just stood. And I was there 5 minutes, and not one of them lifted their heads up to speak to me. And I just thought, you put that kind of effort in, that's the results you're going to get. Yeah. And I would imagine it's probably an example of they've been sent to the show without any understanding, or not prepped and planned and briefed and what have you, and just don't understand what they're there to do. And I found out all about their weekend plans, and could read the newspaper upside down. But that was all I got out of that experience. So let's do some on the day stuff. So you might want to think about, from an executive perspective, your resources, because if you have done your pre-work and you've got lots of appointments, you won't be able to grab the passers-by if there's just you. And I know this is difficult, especially at our show. We have a lot of independent venues, and they might only have one person in sales. And how many hotels right now have got so many vacancies that they can't fill? They might not be able to, release anybody else. But even if you, the gentleman, sorry, was it Sam that you said that was an
lady
specialist?
Lady.
Sam,
sorry.
Yeah,
Sam.
Sam. Sorry, I can't see the people. So, is there freelancers out there that you can say, can you just come and just, learn about my venue or my, what I do and what services I have, and just be the kind of the grabber of the from the aisles and the people.
Admin person on the stand, if you like, almost say, well, do you come back in a bit, we'll be able to see you. And I totally agree. Really good idea.
It could be just somebody who's knows a bit about the industry, or just that will come. There might even be people who do it as a favor for you, is just come and just be your backup if people walk by, and then if you teach them how to qualify leads or qualify inquiries, or then they can work out, hang on, can you just hold on 5 minutes till this meeting finishes and I really would like you to speak to them? Or is it just like you'd like information? Let me agree the follow up with you. So just think about how many how much resources you've got on your stand if you can. I know it's hard, but that's really helpful.
Well, it actually leads into a question. There's a lead-in question. Sorry, there's a question that leads in from that, from Amber Louise on YouTube. She says, if you have a small stand, how many people would you recommend being on the stand representing your business?
If it's a small stand, I would say 2. You probably, at least then you've got somebody to relieve you on breaks. Because I've got some kind of, well, I'll do them now, like little top tips around stay hydrated. It's hard work if you're talking all day. Take breaks if you can. If you are on your own, then I always think back to EastEnders, the stalls and the old, I don't have British TV over here. So it's a long time since I've watched any soaps, but I always remember from years ago, it was kind of, can you watch my stall while I, nip the loo or nip for a sandwich or something? I think, get to know your neighbours so that if you are on your own, you can say, I do need to take a break. Can you keep an eye out for me if you can? And eat, it's really important.
I was down at the boat show a couple of weekends ago, Emma, and there was a guy who had quite a small stand next to one of the stands of a company that I actually know, and he was there by himself. But the boat show is 11 straight days, and he'd done every day flat out by himself. How you maintain that by yourself? Maintaining the smile is really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a long old stint, 11 days. I think you really got to look after self-care, especially if you are on your own. So think about, having a water bottle so that you can get water and fill up. You're not constantly have your breaks of tea or coffee if that's what you need. Definitely, think about your clothing and your shoes and what have you. Be comfortable, but also I think more so than ever, it's really important to think about your own energy levels, because everyone gets kind of excited about the buzz of a show, and everyone loves all the busy aisles and and the reality is the aisles won't be busy. That's why it's so important to do the pre-work. There'll be moments of them being busy, but it's not going to be like it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And it would be silly to expect it to be. So, if you're the kind of person who goes, oh, it's a bit quiet, and then starts on a downward spiral, and someone does walk by and it's like, it's quiet. You're never gonna have a great engaging conversation. So you've got to work on yourself. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in here to totally agree with you, because I think if you're standing there looking negative and thinking inside, God, where are the people? No one's coming to me. No one. People won't come to you. You're giving them signs out like a traffic light. You're saying, don't, just keep moving. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
You've got to treat every person like you've just got there and they've just got there. And you're like, hi, and amazing to see. You've got to be really kind of upbeat. And you will find, guys, as well, that a lot of there's a lot more space on the aisles this year as well because of COVID. So it doesn't look as busy. I know the shows are slightly down as well, but they don't look as busy. But don't take that as a negative. Just give it everything you've got as a visitor or as an exhibitor. to try and get the most out of the day. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, you've really got to get there and really got to give it your all and give off those positive vibes that people want to. Don't be suppressed by it. Just keep going and be relentless.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to jump in briefly, Neil, and I'm going to just kind of verbalise what you've just said in the chat on Facebook for other people on the other channels. If you are coming to the meeting show, if you're coming to CHS, whether as a supplier, if you've got a stand, whether you're exhibiting or you're just coming as a visitor, drop your name, which show you're coming to, and if you have it, a stand number in the comments on YouTube, on Facebook or on LinkedIn, and we'll give you a quick shout out before the end of the show just to say hi.
Yep.
Fab. That's great. I think what else was I going to say about the energy? Oh, just a live example. There's a guy that some people might know. He's not in the industry anymore. Alistair Zambra used to work, what was the company called? I can't remember the company now, but he was one of the best examples of exhibiting how you should do it. He was a young guy, full of big smile, full of energy. And whenever there was nobody at his stand, he walked off and got people and brought them to his stand. He physically go to the TP at Leeds that we had. So I would imagine if people are coming on Delegate Wranglers, I'm not suggesting if you're on the Delegate Wranglers stand, you take them off, but go and find people, go to people if people aren't coming to you. Engage with people. I think if you just stand there and wait, then it's you get what you deserve, I think, in exhibiting. But if you can be the smiley person, like you said, treats every single engagement as if it's the first person they've seen. And I would say, and I would imagine the meeting shows the same. I think I heard these comments about Confex, and I've certainly seen it. The quality of the buyers that are coming to our show is really, really good. And corporates that we've never seen, associations, that kind of thing. And my feeling is they're coming because they have business to place. Because unless one of the challenges I think we have in our industry is it's not essential. You don't have to come to a show.
Yeah.
If you've got a brief, there's things you can do, but the benefits are still there. And I think that they're more now around that meeting face to face, and you can, from a buyer perspective, you can negotiate better face to face than by email and what have you. If that's what you can explain budget and brief and what you're looking for, any extras that you'd like to be thrown
get over that enthusiasm, can't you? As a supplier, you can get over it. You can just say, "Oh, my venue's a castle," or you could just say, "Oh my God, look at it! Look at the grounds! Look at this! We can show you this." And you can have a cup of coffee with them, come and have a drink with them. There's a networking, we haven't even touched on the kind of having a drink and socializing aspect, which I know is a big part of your show, Emma. And all shows as well.
And I mean, going back to the objectives that you set, one of them might be to have 6 show rounds within the next 3 months. So not necessarily, but if if you follow the trail of how you win a piece of business, they might come on a fan trip. They might just do, look at your website and look at, you might want to send photos of it. But if you look at all the ways that the touch points that you have before you close a piece of business, the starting point is the exhibition. You can set objective to have 10 people go to the next step. 5 people go to the next step. 3 people place business in the next 6 months. Yeah. So, you can start to think about it. And right now, so just if you I'm going to come on to the post show, but one of my tips as well is have a bit of a fan trip planned for about 6 weeks after the show. And then when you're talking to somebody who's really good, you can invite them there and then. You can say to them, open up your diary, see if you're free. Get them, they might sign up and then, in the buzz of it all and energy and then, drop out. But at least you've got somebody. If you can walk back knowing you've got a fan trip filled, that's a good result.
That's a great objective. It's a great objective to set and a great one to have fulfilled if you get to the end of that and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, to do that, you've got to do the appointments. You've got to invite people. You've got to work out, be clear on what kind of business that you want. So, for example, you might have a great association buyer come over, but if you don't do association work because you've got, a small venue or and you're not near like a big conference venue, then you might not want to invite them onto your fan trip. You might want to invite people who can place business with you. So and again, it all comes from that setting objectives. Set the right ones, brief the team properly, and work out kind of what your rules are, if you like. So yes, we want people on a fan trip, but only people who have the ability to book, or have the kind of business that would place with us. Yeah. And it sounds really straightforward. Like, why wouldn't you do that? But it's amazing how many people just don't communicate it really clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to jump in with a question, which she's apologised. So this is from Pooja Harani, who's watching on LinkedIn. Good afternoon, Pooja. She says, arrived a little late. Apologies if you've already covered this earlier in show. How important is branded merchandise in your opinion?
Good question.
I would say not.
I'm with you.
No one goes to well, the people who do go to shows to collect the goodies, they're all the people who walk around in the last hour kind of swooping the the people's anything they've got left. I was able to get into all those pens, Dom, in the last hour of the show.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it is. I mean, there is and I'm not saying that merchandising doesn't have a place. It absolutely does. I'm not saying that. I'm saying on a show, if it's yes, it might catch people's eyes, but training trumps merchandise, I would say. There's plenty of paid for courses and things if you're doing a lot of exhibitions. I don't know if this has been recorded. I think you record these, Neil, so you can always say to people, come based on this. I can do a kind of a short briefing document that we can put up somewhere of kind of all the pertinent points and what have you. Yeah. That's helpful. But yeah, I think if you've got, don't get me wrong, if you've just gone out and invested them, it's not a complete waste, but I just think it's more important that you learn how to engage with people and ask, and I've actually written down here about when you're briefing a team, sort of brainstorm some really great opening questions, because things like, how are you? Good, thank you. Carry on walking. Are you looking for a venue? No. Well, you're at a show, kind of. But those opening questions can be really.
Totally agree. You know what? And if anyone here has ever seen Diane, my better half, Diane, in action at the meeting show or whatever, she just literally goes up to people and says, "Hi guys, have you heard of the Delegate Wranglers?" And you get a response either yes or no. So you could use that to your venue.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to such and such a hotel? Or you've just got to go to it, be undeterred.
Maybe we should do a thing, Dom, where people can put the best opening lines for exhibitions. Not.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay, so
opening lines.
So on this subject, this is not shut up line. On this subject,
one of my favourites to kick us off, though, is I actually didn't hear that's an exhibition. I walked into a Pandora shop, the Pandora charms and bracelets.
Yeah.
And when you're in a store and they sometimes say anything I can help with, or and it's kind of no, I'm just looking. And she asked the question was something along the lines of, "What are you looking for today?" So I couldn't answer that. No, I'm just browsing, thank you. As such, it was, and I said, "Oh, actually, I'm just looking for a gift." I think it was. And she said, "Oh, have you got a budget?" And straight away she's into the conversation with me. So yeah, I think maybe let's share some good business chat-up lines for an exhibition. You can read them out at the end, maybe.
Okay, so Paul Venn is first to drop one in, and I'm trying to work out which channel I'm on at the moment. I think he might be on Facebook. Paul Venn has dropped "What brings you here today?" So far better opener than "How are you?" So yeah, on this subject, whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or on Facebook, drop in the comments below your best opening line, your best business chat-up line. And actually, this is great. We can keep this going, Neil. You got to do something more in the group. We've got to do more of this.
And then we'll use them all ourselves.
I want to start with the next couple, but it's once you've got them engaged, it could be, how is business looking for 2022? Then lead on to, are you working on any live inquiries right now? What are you finding your clients are looking for? Great conversation stuff where you can start to get information out of people and say, oh, well, actually, does that client, if you're looking for things in the West Midlands, what's important to that client? This is my venue. Neil, I can see Neil and he's laughing. So are you reading some of the lines, Neil? Is that what you're...
Yeah, Jan, an absolute classic from Jan. Yay, you found me. That's a classic.
I love that.
Sorry.
Shall we move on a little bit to the horse show whilst you guys are getting distracted by all the...
Yeah, we're going to have to leave comments. We've got about 10 minutes left. So
So I'll rattle through the post-show. And again, in your prep, the best thing you can do is have a post-show strategy in advance. Plan your post-show now. And I don't know where this stat is from, so I don't know how old it is, but I can imagine it's being pretty accurate. 80% of leads from an exhibition are never followed up on.
Yep.
You spend all evening.
That's a killer. Is that true?
I've been to shows in our industry and I've given somebody an inquiry. It was a supplier that I need to buy X amount of these and this is my deadline, and they never followed up.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's kind of like either we're inundated with leads and mine was just a small one that they didn't need, but I don't know. So it's really important. So I would advise on the day, agree how and when the person you're speaking to would like to be followed up with. So is it, let's just connect on LinkedIn. It's nothing urgent at the moment. Let's just connect on LinkedIn. Is it, come on a farm trip, come for a show round? Is it, oh, you've got a live inquiry, I will give you a call to get the RFQ from you. So agree in advance, and then you're not getting this sort of bombarding people. What I wouldn't do is take all of the emails and send out, put them into your CRM system, which you should do that bit, and then send out a blanket email to say, thank you, it was great to see you. Because that's getting deleted as soon as it comes in.
This happened to me so many times. So many times. People just scan my badge and then I just get this email saying, thanks for coming on our stand. And I might have just been walking past. So I was just going to ask Emma, where do you stand on badge scanners and things? Because a lot of people, you know, love to do it, but what do you do with it afterwards? And how do you, you've got to know what you're talking to each person about, haven't you, surely?
Yeah, and what I would say is, I mean, personally, I'm not a fan, even though we do them, of badge scanners. I am horrified by all the things that can often go wrong in terms of people not scanning properly, or something. The one thing about exhibitions that kind of fill me with dread. So I always think have a backup plan. If you've got to really, still do the whole business card swap, still do the, have your diary about when you're going to be connecting with people. But yeah, you need to think about, so if you've got your follow-up planned, you can do your badge scanning. So that might be this person just wants an email, this one wants to be added to the database, this person wants to be invited to a fam trip, this person has got a live inquiry, because then you can prioritize it when you get back to the office. If someone's got a live inquiry, you're calling them first. If somebody wants to come on a fam trip and you've got one planned, then you're calling them second. If so you can prioritize and then it's not so overwhelming. If you've met lots of people on a stand and you think, oh my goodness, when am I going to get a chance to call all these people? The chances you won't do it at all because it's just too overwhelming. So if you plan it and have all your different categories and of what kind of follow-up you'll give them, for GDPR, you cannot just scan someone's badge and add them to your database. So it might be, or you say to them, I'm scanning this because you want to be added to the, happy to be added to the database. And if they say no, then that's there. So you might have that as a barcode, and then you might have all your follow-up as well. So they've got that one to say, yes, I can add them to the CRM system. Yeah. That one to say you want a phone call. That one to say there's nothing at the pipeline, just connect on social.
You can also go old school, can't you, Emma, as well? With just like an inquiry form. And then listen, I know this sounds really like 1970s. Like bring a stapler and just staple the card to the thing and write and have a pre-done form, what your follow-up is and what you do.
I take a notebook, it's a normal notebook, and the stapler, and then you've got a book with them all in, and you can write what that person wants. I much prefer old school, but
I prefer the modern way, just making a note on my phone, but it's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, what about mine? Can everyone see that? I've got this card.
Yeah, you have. It didn't work though, did it?
No, the code works though. So you just take the photo of the code and it goes into your contacts. But I don't get theirs. That's the only problem. But they get mine. So
it's got to work both ways. Jan's just dropped another business chat up line, which is, "Oh, I love your jacket," but she said she adds genuine compliments only.
That always is a jacket. So yes, that's a good compliment for Jan. Always.
I think it works for women to men, but not men to women. That one doesn't look a bit leery.
But yeah, I mean, a compliment can often, it makes people feel good, and that could be one of your just objectives is to make sure to say to people, especially if they're new to exhibiting and they're worried about approaching people, is say to them, right, when you see somebody, look at them and think of a compliment, and that might be what they're wearing, and again, keep it professional. But it's a great way to get that instant rapport of making someone feel good if you get a compliment about something, or even if you most women have different hairstyles now than what we had last time you saw us. So just complimenting there's a good chance that our hair has changed. Go with that. I'm loving the new hair. Not so much with the men, but certainly with the women. The other tip for that is before the show, block out time in your diary to do your follow-up and treat it like a really important meeting.
Yeah.
Because if not, you'll never find the time to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're still really busy before the show.
But when do you do your follow-up? Do you let people go straight away next day, or do you go leave it a few days? What's the ideal?
If you've spoken to them and had the really good qualifying conversation and said to them, how and when will I follow up with you? The answer's in your notes.
Yeah.
And then so I would just block out. So even if you just do an hour a week for the next 4 or 5 weeks or something, just block out an hour, but don't let that hour get pushed. Don't let anybody else, take that time out of your diary. Or if somebody takes it, you put it back in somewhere else. It's such a difficult discipline. But you might do something just the day after to do your social, connecting on LinkedIn and that kind of thing, and then any particular email. But again, it's your priority. So you might block out an hour the following day to say that's for any live inquiries. That's for anybody that I met that actually has an inquiry.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, about the social channels as well. There's so many different ways you can do it, without coming across like a stalker, but you can connect with them on LinkedIn, and then drop them an email a few days later. I think you've got to think about all these channels, follow them on Twitter, all these things, isn't there? So many different ways now.
And just going back to the people attending as well, so I shouldn't forget about the people attending. So you've got, if you've planned your day, you've done your appointments, you've got around everybody, think about who you want to, you might want to block out some time as well, just for connecting with people, because it might not be necessarily suppliers. You might be saying, well, I'm happy for them to contact me as agreed. But I would also say, if you're going with your objectives and someone says, how will I follow up? You can be honest with them and say, actually, I haven't got anything at the moment. Let's just connect on social. Or give me a call in 6 months, or just add me to your database, and we'll, I'll see you at the next event or what have you. Because then you're not wasting anyone's time in terms of them following up with you, but you're also then not dodging calls that you didn't really want in the first place. You can just be really honest. So I've got my set objectives for today, and if you don't mind, I'm actually going to go and make sure I meet my objectives. And just have that honest conversation. But it's when you're not clear before you go that you get drawn into conversations that you don't want to be drawn into. You have a really good person like Jan on your stand-up will talk to you whether you want it or not, and she's giving you compliments, and she's you found her. But if you're going, yes, but I only book a certain type of event in a certain location, or I'm here looking for suppliers, you can have that lovely chat and go, actually, I'm looking for suppliers. Please excuse me. But it's to think on the spot is very difficult. Not very difficult, but it's easier if you have your objectives in advance, and then you don't have to be fielding calls that aren't really the right time for you and what have you. And if everyone just has that open, honest conversation, I think it makes the post show a lot more productive.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm aware, Emma, we've got about 5 minutes left. So I don't know if you've got anything else we need to cover. I know there's questions. Well, we want to talk about CHS. Tell us about the show you've got coming up and the details and where it is, etc. And I'm going to put a link to register in the chat room.
Yeah. So 26th of October at the ICC in Birmingham. If you are a hosted buyer, you get to come to a great welcome party. That's when it all starts at Eastside Rooms, brand new venue. Neil, I think, did you do an event there? I know you went and had a show around and did your...
We've been absolutely an amazing venue with the lovely Leanne. It's a fantastic... We're going to, honestly, guys, and I came out for last time we did CHS at Leeds. The pre-show thing was amazing. Really good fun.
Yeah. and they're really, this is the first event that Eastside Rooms are doing for the industry, so they are really keen to make it a fantastic event. So if you come as a hosted buyer, you do need to do your four appointments on the day, but if you do your planning, that's not a difficult thing to do, 4 appointments. If you know what you're looking for and you do your research, you get to get the great welcome party. You get to have your complimentary accommodation the night before. If you don't want to come as a hosted buyer, or you live around the corner, then you can still apply to be a VIP buyer. So you don't get the welcome party or the accommodation. Then you get. Oh, is that some feedback?
Sorry, no.
Well, I thought I could hear some feedback. Sort of feedback on the technical side, not someone giving me feedback. So through the day, all for us, we love hosting people and hospitality. So we always have complimentary tea and coffee and our post-show drinks and what have you for everybody. The pre-qualified buyers get a lovely lunch as well, as do the exhibitors. So lots and lots of social things. We're having drinks afterwards, and in fact, Neil, we're doing a session at the end of the day, aren't we? With Laura Capalabra and also Marty Fullard. It's a bit of a sort of celebration that we survived the last 18 months and we're all here. So it's going to be a really nice, engaging last session, and we might have a drink as well at the end of that.
Dom's going to be doing. We haven't told you, Emma, but Dom's going to be doing a kind of celebration of the that we're back by interpretive dance, aren't you, Dom?
One of us
did we tell you? Have you not got the email? You've not got the email yet.
One of us always gets stitched up with the dance, Neil, but nothing's going to ever beat the one that you put out on TikTok.
Moving on.
I'm still standing. That's maybe what we should all do at the end of the show.
I can see you in that John straw hat there, Dom.
Yeah, that's me.
Anyway. It's going to be really good.
Can I just touch on the seminars as well? Because for us, we've said that education is really important for people, in terms of almost having another reason to come. So we're focusing on 2 things on our education program, and that's kind of what do we need to know and who do we need to be. The world has changed in the events industry. We've all learned new skills in the last 18 months. We've all got very familiar with Zoom and other platforms. Whenever I'm faced with a new challenge, I think, who do I need to become to be able to face this challenge? And that directs my learning. So we're looking at it from that perspective as well. So there's a lot of kind of more personal development type talks, but then also what do I need to know? So we've got a great session around if you're doing hybrid events or multi-centre events, how do you make them financially work? So it's kind of how do you make money out of events from an agency perspective, but also an association perspective in terms of everything. Associations have to meet, but they might not do one big global event. So it's some really great. I've got a great guy.
A real kind of
a different business model and what have you. So
that's what I mean. We're in a really transitional period of the industry as well. Different people are finding different ways to work and to hold meetings. So I think all that kind of stuff there's lots there for people to learn from, isn't there?
Yeah. Sessions on career development, etc. So that's going to be great. Obviously, the Delegate Wranglers are there. You've got your stand. You've got some, your stand partners.
With Morden doing cocktails.
Yeah. So it's going to be a great day, and it marks the end of the season with the last show in the diary for this year. So I would plead with people, if you really can give us time, we'll make sure that we reward you for investing your time in it, and thank you.
Come the night before, definitely come the night before, because that event will be fab. If last time's was anything to go on, the atmosphere and the spirit that was at that event helps you the next day, because then you've met a lot of people already and you've kind of broken the ice and said, oh, remember when Dom was doing that dance last night? Something to talk about again.
But yeah, I mean, the last one we did at Harvey Nicks in Leeds was amazing, wasn't it, Neil? It was an amazing. show, and the
Brilliant.
exhibitors are there as well, and the buyers. So it's a great networking opportunity as well. You know, if you've got those, and your objective then might just be to catch up with people and socialise and just have a great time, and then you can work on your business objectives the following day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's our job to look after you and say thank you. And yeah, if you can spare the time, we'd love to see you there.
Definitely. Well, Emma, that has been absolutely brilliant. There's so many good tips that have come out of that, and I'm going to nick loads of them for on the stand. Well, I'll pass them on to Diane. She's the one who talks to everyone on the stand. But please, guys, you know, I hope you've really enjoyed that show, and hope you can you know, try and come out to both the meeting show and also to CHS and Confex and on all the other shows as well. It's really important for our industry. Well, thank you, Emma. You've been amazing as always.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Emma. We'll see you very soon.
You will. Well, Friday. I'm coming to the meeting show.
Oh yeah, I'll see you on Friday.
So,
come say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I'm available for hugs and wine.
Good to ask them then.
That's the objective. Hugs and wine.
I love it. Thanks, Emma.
Thanks, Emma.
Dom, another show in the bag for us. I love that show. It was amazing.
It's
so
fun.
many positive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so positive, and there's been a load of comments here, and it's great. And like Julie's just said, "See you at TMS for hugs and wine." I think that's in direct response to Emma's comment. There's been so many comments come through across all the channels today, so it's been great. Thank you very, very much for entertaining us. I haven't had a chance to go back and look through all the comments, but I'll try and do a little virtual shout out to everybody, because it's been really nice seeing so many people comment and get involved today.
So many nice comments and some inquiries there, Emma, for stands, all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, I saw the inquiry come through just now, which Claire's been straight on. So the importance of that immediate follow up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm aware we're massively over time. So shall we have a look, Callum, what is on the show, what's coming up in the next few weeks, if you can press the button. So we have got the meeting show coming up on Thursday and Friday this week. We're actually traveling down tomorrow morning for setup and stuff. So hopefully see some of you guys there the night before or on site. Then I'm actually on stage with George Gabriel of Facebook, who is my contact at Facebook. And we're going to be having a session called the Power and Community on the Dockland stage at 1:50 on Thursday, the 30th. So come and see us, guys. And you know, you can put your questions to me and George about all things community related. The following week, we've got a business rescue class with Chris Morden. Now, this is something that I really wanted to tackle. So this is for people who have been in financial difficulty because of you know, COVID and things or whatever. And this is like a really positive show about all the things you can do, all the ways he can help you, all the ways you know, to deal with the HMRC and all kinds of things. It's going to be really useful, and I think it's a subject, Dom, that we probably needed to tackle. You know, so
it's not a subject we've gone anywhere near, but I totally agree. I think it's really important. It's not something that I would have thought about to do in this group, but I think it's absolutely right to do so. So good work on that.
And then the following week we've got a diverse and inclusive events masterclass with Ashanti, and that should be really good as well. As anyone who's met Ashanti, she's an amazing lady. She was at the meeting show, so that should be an amazing show as well. A subject that's long overdue on this show as well. So look forward to all them. As always, wow, voice went, sorry. It's all that singing.
Well, as your voice breaks, I will point out that there was a typo on that slide, but I'll direct you to it afterwards.
Okay, right. Well,
you'll kick yourself.
Sorry about me. So, as always, we're massive supporters of the Show Up campaign. I don't know if Callum can show this slide for that as well. We're just encouraging everybody to show up at all the shows, guys. Not only the shows, anything you've been invited to. So be that to an online Zoom seminar, be it to a party, be it to a show round, be it to a fam trip, an open day, anything. Please make sure you show up. It's massively important now more than ever. And then finally, to wrap up, I'm just going to give you quick promo video that we've got. And Dom, we can keep talking. So Callum, if you can run the video for this is just to promote all our stand partners who are going to be at the meeting show. As you can see, we've got about 10 or 11 stand partners, all with different things, different aspects of the industry. So it should be really good. Dom, you're going to be there as well.
I am going to be there, and Thursday's the first time that I'm actually not going to do any filming at all. We're going to do all of the filming on the DW stand on Friday, and I'm actually coming just to talk to people and meet people and actually try and get something out of the show. So I'm really looking forward to it. But there's a number of the stand partners that I didn't know until I've just seen this, and there's a couple that I actually need to speak to. So good timing. But that's a really good selection of stand partners for this event, and I know loads of people. There's been a couple of people commented that they're going to be at the meeting show this week as well. So it'll be really nice to catch up with everybody.
Yeah, there is, guys, and as always, we always have lots of fun on the stand. Who's this chanter here? Just come up there.
I don't know who's that. Dodge.
Who is that one? Just remind you, I'm going to be on stage on the Thursday. Show up, guys. Nice. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Cocktails as always on the stand, and I know that Mix and Match are going to have a competition, a giveaway as well, a competition that you can enter. So you have to come to the stand to be in it to win it. And it's have you not got
a giveaway or a competition this time? Have I seen that? Or have I made that up?
No. We're doing the same as last time. We were just about to put it on the group about for the first 10 people who sign up to our superstars at the show, we're giving away one of the it's called a tile.
Yeah.
Where if you lose your phone and you blah blah blah, they're really cool. So you're going to get one of those, a little branded Delegate Wranglers tile. So yes. Oh, Sam's saying we're giving away cocktail kits. So come to the show, guys. Come to the show, guys, and we'll give you more info how you can enter. I think to enter involves actually drinking a cocktail, so not a bad tactic really. So come and see us. So I think that's about it, Dom. We've been through everything.
It is. We're massively over time. But actually, do you know what? Everyone's stuck with us, and there's some really lovely comments saying thanks for this great session. It's been great having you all with us, but we really do need to go now. We've all got work to do.
Yeah, and I need to go to live as well. So too much info.
Yeah, way too much. Excellent. Thank you very much for watching. For those of you that do attend the meeting show, come find us. Neil, what's the stand number? Can you remember? I think it's C20.
Yes, T270.
T270. There you go.
Yeah.
T270.
So come and see us. But guys, even easier than that, we're right opposite the front entrance, so you cannot miss us.
Perfect.
And we're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of networking and some good business connections going to be made. Hope to see you there, guys. Please show up.
Wonderful. And for anyone else that isn't making the meeting show, we will be back next Tuesday at 1:30. Thank you very much for watching. Good afternoon.